Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV. Today we're in our Tempe, Arizona studio with Stephanie Coffman of United Brokers Group. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining me on Real Estate Pros.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So for those watching that don't know who you are, we'll give you a moment to introduce yourself.
All right. I'm Stephanie. I've been an agent for 13 years, and I've been with United Brokers Group for 9 years almost. And I worked in corporate America for 20 years before that, and I got really burnt very crispy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I loved it for part of the time, but then the longer I did it, I decided
I can sympathize
You
with
can.
that. I got burnt.
Yeah.
Kind of crispy, a little bit. Yeah, for about 10 years. What was your corporate background?
I worked for a Fortune 50 company for most of my career. I moved here from Missouri, so I worked for a distribution company there, and then I worked in the aerospace industry for like 17 years.
Gotcha.
So
you got nice and crispy.
yes, my husband said,
You
I
need a
think
change."
we need a change. So it was like, what am I going to do? So I really had to kind of start all over. So I quit my job. Well, before I quit, I took 3 weeks off to sort of figure out what I wanted to do, and I had 3 options.
What
You don't want to really know.
No,
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm going to walk dogs, become a real estate agent.
Well, very varied. So I have an interest in cars. So I thought maybe I could be a buyer broker for women, because women are terrified of buying cars and negotiating.
I was like, you
and
got a Model T? What do you got?
No, I'm just a car. I have an Audi, but I mean, I like cars, so I'm kind of a car girl.
Yeah, I love cars.
You do? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we could talk cars all day.
Okay, so I thought, well, maybe cars something, but that was kind of a hard way to start. And then real estate was always something that's sort of been in the back of my mind when I was a little kid. This is kind of cheesy, but I used to draw floor plans on graph paper, and I thought it was cool, like designing houses, not the outside of houses, but the inside of houses.
Like putting up walls and making the little triangles for
how,
doors?
Yeah, like
really?
How would I arrange things? And instead of a family room, I had a friend room, because I was like a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So I had friends, so I designed houses for like how my friends and I would live. And so it's always kind of been an interest, but I never really thought I'd end up selling houses. But I bought and sold 2 houses before I became a realtor, and I had not very good agents. And I thought, I think I can do this a whole lot better than these other people did. And they just weren't good at service. So service is something that's very important to me, providing excellent service. And that's, when I worked in corporate, I was mostly on the customer side. So I did sales, I did proposal management, I did account management, I did all sorts of customer-facing roles. And that was always important to me, but the company I worked for did not have a customer culture, a good customer culture. So we clashed, and I had heartburn. And that's one of the reasons I wasn't happy there. So I thought, okay, I need to do a business where I can do a good job, work hard, be rewarded for myself, not work for anyone else, and do a really great job for my customers and provide a high level of service. So it just sort of ended up, I had a relative that was a broker, and I had lunch with her, and she said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, I haven't figured it out. She goes, I think you should do real estate. You'll be awesome. I'm like, really? And she said, absolutely. So I did. So, and the rest is history.
And then 13 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
So has real estate gone as you thought? Obviously, nobody was anticipating the cliff dropping off.
Yes. I started in 2005. So for a while, the market was horrible. So I would tell my clients, they're like, how do you sell a house in a bad market? And I said, well, I don't know any different. I've only worked in a bad market because when I was in 2005, I started in the middle. And, it takes a few months to kind of get going.
Right.
So I really didn't start getting traction until 2006. And that's when the market was doing this.
Right.
So I learned to do real estate in a crappy market. And so that's all I know. And so the people that, had been living the high life for a few years were like quitting. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have to work hard and get leads? And that, I mean, how else do you get business? They're like, well, we used to stick a sign in the yard and the house would sell in 5 minutes. Well, I never had that option. I didn't. So it was not really, I had a couple of lean years, but everyone said, well, 10% of agents made it through the the downturn, and you're one of them. And I thought, oh, I guess they're right. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. Now I'm on the.
So now we're seeing a big
I'm on the
influx of
end,
agents.
yeah.
How many are going to stick around? Who
Yeah,
knows?
I know. Everyone gets in the business when it's good, which
Right,
makes
right,
sense,
right.
right? But
having gone through the experience of, you've gone through the experience of hard, I guess, relatively hard real estate time, so you can, whatever the market does in the future, who knows? Maybe it continues to be good, or whatever it does.
Hopefully it doesn't do what it did last
yeah,
time. I know everyone's worried
hopefully
about a bubble,
not.
and I don't see that coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, hard work, and I mean, I do business by referral. So there are always going to be people who need to buy and sell houses, and hopefully all the people I know and I've done business with in the past will keep referring business to me. So that's how I do business. I build relationships. I try to give a high level service even after the sale. I provide information, tradespeople. I want people to call me if they have a need, so I can help them find it, because I want them to think of me when they think of anything house related. That's my goal. So far it's working.
So here in 2018, what are those big business drivers for you? It sounds like you work a lot on referrals because you've had a lot of past clients with good experiences working with you. Is that the case? And in addition to that, what other activities do you do? I mean, there's so many different focuses, right?
Yeah, I really don't try to get random leads. I do open houses on occasion, and I do sometimes pick up clients that way. That's not, that just sometimes happens. I had the cutest couple I met at an open house in December. I was selling a house, and they were newlyweds, and they came in, and we just hit it off. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, we're not ready to buy a house, but when we are, we're calling you." And they did. And I mean, people always say that. They don't do that, right? But
right.
I know, but I sold them a house in, I think it was April, and her name's Stephanie also. So we bonded, and I keep in touch with them. And so I really just try to give good service and keep in touch with my clients. And sometimes, when I get busy, it's harder to do that. So I have to remember, stay in touch with my people. But my repeat clients, I think this year especially, I've had the most repeat clients I've ever had, which is really good. So I think the record is I've sold 5 homes to the same couple.
Really?
Yeah, in 13 years. So they're winning.
Yeah. So what advice would you give for brand new agents that are starting today in real estate to be able to, make it through the first year? Because I think that's where you see the most people getting out of the business, right?
Yeah, so if I had to do it all, well, I did one thing right, and I think if I would have done something different, I would have. So I think, because I have a newer agent who's holding one of my listings open this weekend, and I was talking to her about, she's really new, and I think you try a lot of different things and see what sticks. So you do maybe some internet marketing, you do farming, you do open houses, you do door knocking. I mean, the good thing about real estate is there's all different ways to be successful, and you just have to find what works best for you. So I think when you're new, trying all those different things and seeing what works is the key. I also think maybe being on a team. If you're a new agent, getting to be on a team or being a transaction coordinator is really good, because it gives you experience quickly. I think when you're on your own being the Lone Ranger, I think it takes longer, to go up that learning curve. Mm-hmm. So if you can get on a team or get in an office where you can help other agents with their business, I think you'll ramp up quicker.
Sure. And on the topic of office, you chose to hang your license with the United Brokers Group. Why did you go with United Brokers Group?
Gosh, I'd worked for 2 other brokerages before that. One was very sort of corporate-ish, and I was comfortable there because that's what I came from. So it seemed, but then I soon realized that they wanted you to do things kind of their way, and I wanted to do things my way. So I kind of left, and then I went to the complete opposite, where they were like, we have all these things, you can do whatever you want, we don't care. It was like swinging from one extreme to the other. And I sort of felt like I needed something in the middle. So United Brokers Group formed in 2009, and I had a cross sale with an agent who had just started working there. And we were in short sale mania then. And so I had this transaction with her, and I think it was like 6 or 8 months. And we had to talk to each other, all the time, because it took forever. And we got to know each other really well, and we had a lot of common interests. And I thought, this agent is so friendly. She's so professional. She's so good. I said, what, this company that you work for, I've never heard of it. And she said, oh yeah, we're brand new. And I said, well, are all the agents as awesome as you are? And she said, well, I don't know, you should come find out. So I thought, I should check it out, but I really wasn't ready to move. When you switch brokerages, it's a lot of work. You have to change all your market. It's a lot. But one of my really good friends was sort of in the mode, we worked at the same brokerage, and she's like, I need a change. And I said, well, you should go check out this brokerage. I just, I had this cross sale with this agent. She's awesome, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'm going to do it. So she goes and she interviews with them, and she calls me and she said, you have to work here. And I said, I'm not going to leave. No, you have to work here. And if you don't come here, I'm going to come and drag you. And I'm like, why? And she's like, it is everything that you want in a brokerage. And so I thought, okay, I'll talk to them. And so we both joined. We said, okay, we're here for a package deal, even though it's not really a package, but they let us. And they just have a really good corporate company culture. They actually had a culture agreement at that time where you had to read it and be willing to play by those rules. And it's kind of like, everyone's like, well, what was in it? Like, take the high road. Just, treat others how you would want to be treated. Just, there are so many unprofessional people in any industry, right? Mm-hmm. And so they really have a very high threshold for who they hire. And they don't just hire anybody. They interview you and you interview them. And if they don't like your culture or how you work, then you don't get asked to work there. And that's different. And the agent that I met in 2009 is now our designated broker. So she's
really?
an amazing lady, yes. Kathy Swan. Shout out to Kathy.
Awesome. So what areas of the Valley do you cover?
So I live in Ahwatukee, so I cover all of the East Valley, the Southeast Valley, Phoenix. I used to live in Tempe a few years ago too, so I cover Tempe, Phoenix, and Scottsdale. So I don't really work on the west side much, unless someone really, really, really begs me to. Like I've had a few listings there, but I don't work with buyers there because I just don't know the area. And when you're working with buyers and you don't know the area, it's tough. When you have a listing, it's a little bit different. You can learn that neighborhood, you can learn that market. So I've done a few transactions there, but mostly East Valley, Phoenix, Scottsdale. So I'd say maybe 2/3 of the valley I cover.
Okay.
So lots of miles on the car.
Yeah. Your Audi's a 2000.
It's a
2017 with 150,000. No,
it's not. But I know. But it's this year has been really busy, so it's feeling its mileage this year. Yeah.
I gotcha. Awesome. Well, with so many agents in the valley, I think. Somebody mentioned earlier today that's 64,000 or whatever. What?
Really?
That's what they say. I don't know.
I don't think that's right.
Maybe.
I thought it was something like 38. Maybe I need to check.
Maybe.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay.
Maybe you checked a few months ago, but
maybe.
Since then,
yeah, maybe.
Since then, there's
actually one of my clients just got his license.
Oh, really?
He's like, "What do you think?" He's flipping houses and he's like, well, and I said, if you're going to do all that, you should just get your license and do it. And so he did. And he's like, that was so happy. So I'm supporting him and helping him. He's like, can I call you and ask you questions? I'm like, of course you can. So anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's cool though. Having clients that turn
every
into
once in a
real
while.
estate agents. So, anyways, I don't remember exactly where I was going.
Sorry.
I know we were talking about your car. But
you said with so many agents in the valley.
Oh yeah. With so many agents in the valley, why do buyers and sellers choose to work with you versus?
I don't know.
The valley?
No, I'm
you
kidding.
don't know.
No, I know.
Well, what do they say?
So I asked them. So after I have a transaction with every person, I ask them for feedback, and I really take it to heart. And I ask them for anonymous feedback. So if they want to give me, constructive criticism, they can do it anonymously, but they don't. I think I've had one person ever that didn't sign their name on it, whatever. But I don't know. I think, like I said, it's by referral. So other people have had a good experience with me. I said I provide a high service level, and I'm very particular about how I do my business. And I had some clients, I think it may be the people who've bought and sold 5 homes. I don't know. They're like, wow, you're like, we have to do all this stuff. I have a checklist and I have very specific things when I'm putting a house on the market because I know what works, right? I know. And I say, you have to trust me. It's all going to work. And they get all this stuff done and their house looks amazing. They're like, we don't want to move now. It looks awesome. Well, no, wait, you hired me to sell your house. Oh, yeah, we forgot. But so they get it. So they understand. And so I think that experience plus referrals of other people that have had a good experience with me, I don't know, they choose me. And they have a good experience. And so they tell somebody else, and then they tell somebody else, and, that's how it works. Like the shampoo commercial, and so on and so on and so on.
So you mentioned a checklist. Well, talk to us about what's on that checklist. Let's hear the secret sauce of selling listings.
I can't tell all the secrets. Well, so it's sort of morphed. So I have if some people know really far ahead of time if they're going to sell. They have like a strategic plan. Some people will call me and go, okay, I want to put my house on the market tomorrow. So it's kind of different. So it sort of depends on the situation. But if you know a lot ahead of time, then I have a checklist that says, 3 to 6 months before you sell, these are the things you do. And it's like important stuff like get a home inspection, fix things that need to be fixed, paint your house, work on your landscape, those kind of things that take some time to get ready. And of course, it's house dependent. Some people's houses are pristine, perfect already, and some people's need a lot of help. Mm-hmm. So it does vary. And I also walk everyone's house room to room and say, these are the things that you need to do. In an empty house, I stage it. I hire a stager. If it's an occupied house, I have some things to add or change of my own, but I don't, they have to live there, right?
Sure.
And then I have before you put your house on the market, like 1 to 2 weeks out, these are the things you need to do. And it's things like depersonalizing, so taking personal photos down, your diplomas, because you want buyers to go in and look at the house and not look at you and your stuff.
Right.
And sometimes they refuse to do it. I'm like, that's fine. This is my wish list. It's not my have to do, or you're going to, but it does make a difference. And how a house is presented makes a huge difference. I mean, if you have, when you go into a bad house, that the agent did absolutely nothing. They walked in, signed the paperwork, took pictures with their iPhone, and walked out. And there's a drastic difference between that kind of agent, and someone who really takes their job seriously. So depersonalizing, decluttering, people are like, well, why do I have to organize my closet? And I said, well, because people will look in there. And if they open the door and everything falls out on top of them, that is bad. And then they think that you're messy, and then they think, they generalize and they think you're not taking care of your house or you're messy or what else is not, And so I tell buyers, think about a model home. That's what you want your home to look like, as close as possible. So I'll tell them to go walk through a new build, walk through models to get a sense of what it is. And, okay, I get it. And then I have, when your house is on the market, these are the things you have to do every day. Pick up the dog poop in the backyard. Scoop the cat litter or whatever. I literally had people once, they had 3 dogs, and I put it on the market, and I had buyers go through it, and I call for feedback every time I have a showing,
Sure.
right? And the agent's like, well, the house was great, but the backyard was a little sketchy. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, we had to navigate around piles of, and I'm like, what? So it's like, they didn't, so I added that to my list. Like, you would think that would be common sense to pick up the dog do in your, no, it wasn't. So that's on my list now. If you have a dog, pick up the do every day. Put your dishes in the dishwasher. Don't leave a pile in the sink, because, I've shown houses where there's like underwear on the floor, and I'm just like, do these people realize their house is on the market? It's crazy. So I don't want to be one of those. So I give them a checklist and walk through it, and mostly
But those are great things on the checklist, and I think it's very important for them to understand, obviously, what you expect as a real estate agent, but also how they can present the home in the best light possible. Obviously, in the job that we do, we've seen everything.
Yes.
So
and professional photos are, obviously, that's on my checklist, not on theirs, but that's huge. And video, photos, drone, aerial, depending on the situation.
Sure,
it's very important. And like I said, probably 75% of agents take pictures with their iPhone or their Android or whatever and call it done. And you'll see babies with diapers walking around the house. You'll see, it boggles my mind. And I just think, so when I put a house on the market, I send the listing to my sellers immediately. And I say, look at the photos, look at the description, look at everything I did. Tell me if you see any errors. Tell me if there's anything that you don't feel I conveyed correctly. So I'm wondering, do these agents not do that? And then the people see these photos and see how bad they are?
They don't. I'll tell you right now, they don't.
Who doesn't do that? But yeah. So when people say what makes an agent different,
what seems like things. Common sense to you is not agent common sense. I can tell you that much.
That boggles my mind, but I guess that helps me, right? The worse they are, the more I'm looking good.
That makes you different, right?
Yeah.
So I love the idea of the checklist. I think that definitely would help to keep everybody on the same page. How about experience from the buyer's perspective?
So on the buyer side, when we go to look at homes, this sounds really corny, but I prepare a folder. You have some people who are note takers and analytical, and you have some that are just, no, it doesn't feel right, and they walk out, and that was it. So, or have everything in between. So I have a folder where I put all the listings we're going to see. I give them a pen. I put a map of what we're going to look at, and then I put a little sheet about me. So, and it depending on how well I know them, so they can, reading material for later.
They're like, that's not true. No, I'm just kidding. They're like your best friend. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't have to tell them.
I know, I'm kidding.
I just sold my best friend her house actually this year. So anyway, yeah. What was I saying? Oh, so for buyers, so after I do that, once we're under contract, I have like a little, so title companies give out booklets of this is how things work, but I do a little more. So I make a customized timeline for them with the date they go under contract to the date of closing, which has like a chronological in detail overview. And I put, these are the things you need to be aware of, and then these are the actions you need to take. And I send that to them at the beginning, and I say, this is a reference. You don't have to read it, but if you want to read it, it's there. If you have a question, it's probably answered here, or you can just call me. So I'm always available. But sometimes that answers several questions if they just, skim through that. And then, there's so many things going on when you first go under contract, earnest money, inspector, and all, what do I do? What do I do? So I guide them, but I also have that for them to refer back to.
I mean, but that's a great idea because not too many people go through. I mean, there's tons of people that this is their first navigation through buying a home, and to kind of have that roadmap laid out in front of their eyes, it's not like a surprise, oh, you're asking me for this. Well, you kind of can see what's going to be expected through the...
And you can tell them, but there's so many things happening.
Oh, yeah, tons.
They're going to remember, 5% of what you spewed out. And so this reinforces, what you've already told them. And it's like, oh, okay, I think she mentioned something about that. Oh, yeah, it says here, whatever. I have to have whatever by this date. And so I was answering the same questions over and over and over. And I thought, this is crazy. I just need to write them all down.
These tools?
Yeah, so I created it and sent it to them. And I did one for sellers too, but they don't have as many activities as buyers, so not so necessary, but... Yeah,
and I can see how that can help. I mean, I don't know if part of the roadmap is, what are must-haves in your property that you're looking for, but, it sounds like you do a lot of due diligence ahead of time. All of the properties that you're going to see, you got the roadmap, you have a lot of things that you're delivering value, right, from an agent. It's not like, oh, let's jump in my car. Which ones did you find on Zillow? Let's go check them out. Zoom around all,
Some customers, like I had a client, I sold a house in January, and he was referred from another client that he's like, Diana told me you're awesome. That's all I need to know. You pick the houses I want, and I'll go see them. And I'm like, really? Yep. I go, okay, tell me what you need to have. So he gave me like his 3 must-haves and obviously his price range, and I'd pre-qualified him already, so I knew all that. I'm like, okay. So I picked 4 houses. We went to some. He wrote an offer on 1. That was it. Because that was the best experience I've ever had. He's like, I'm too overwhelmed. I can't do it. I was like, well, so you pick them for me. I trust you. Wrote an offer on 1, got it, moved in. That was it. He's like, awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, that usually they're not that easy, but he wanted me to do it. Some people, I had another couple in May, and they were moving here from California, and they said, no, they wouldn't let me pick houses for them. They wouldn't even let me set up a search for them. They chose all of their houses and then said, these are the houses we want to see. And they were like random, I'm like trying to figure out, what do they have in common? They were like all over the valley, wow. What? And they're like, I said, are you sure you don't want, I can help you better if you let me help you. No, we want to pick them. And I'm like, okay. And they were fine with that. So they bought one, and it's a beautiful home, but it was hilarious. So I've had one extreme to the other.
Yeah,
Usually most people are in the middle. They're like, okay, here's some options. Let's weed through these options. But yeah, I had that. No, you pick it. And no, you don't pick it. And, so I try to listen. I mean, being a good listener is important, right? And so I try to weed out the noise, and so I don't waste people's time. Yeah. So. And I think they appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just listening to it, it sounds like a great experience because how you're explaining it to me, I just put myself in their shoes and how I would be if I was that seller or that buyer, It just seems like a good experience. So if somebody watching is interested in having you represent them to buy or sell a home, how do people get a hold of you?
They can go to my website. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website, and they're all Stick with Steph. So my slogan is Stick with Steph, because real estate is more than a transaction. So I'm a relational person. So stick with Steph. You can find me that way. And my phone number is 602-616-3998.
Awesome.
So you can call me, email me, text me, web me, Facebook me, whatever.
IG stories, direct
Yes.
DM.
You should be able to find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Stephanie,
you.
for taking time out of your
Thanks
day
a
joining
lot.
me
I
on
had
Real
fun.
Estate Proofs. And we
Happy
will see you
Friday.
guys on the next one. Happy Friday.